right, 30 seconds has started.
Did you figure out both chats?
No, not yet. I'll figure it out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're like,
Hi, hello everybody. We are live, and let me know if you can hear me, see me, all of those things. Welcome, welcome. I don't know who all is here at the beginning, but we're just kind of warming up, getting into this and everything. But as you're coming in, let me know how you're doing. If you don't know who I am, I'm Amy, Amy Irby Books. And tonight we're just going to be chatting all things books and being cozy. I literally have my I Love You Cherry Much blanket on top of me. So we're being cozy tonight. But let me know how you're doing as you are coming in. We are live on YouTube and TikTok. My husband is helping me out tonight and he has set everything up. So definitely we'll be thanking him. He's Nerd Cave Network in the chat. But yeah, I haven't done a live in a long time. I used to do it pretty frequently with other content, with Nerd Cave Network and other things. And I've done some lives on my book content, like my book socials, but it's been a couple of years now. So I feel a little bit rusty, but yeah, I'm excited about tonight. I think we'll go at least a couple of hours, but we will see how things go. But yeah, today has been a pretty low key day, just like some laundry and things like that, kind of prepping for tonight. And yeah, nothing too exciting. Um, I played a little bit of Animal Crossing. I've been getting back into it recently and got a new villager. So if you know what I'm talking about with Animal Crossing, you know that that's always exciting. So, but yeah, as you're coming in, let me know how you are, who you are, and I'm just really excited about tonight. I've got some interesting topics for us to kind of talk about, and yeah, just hanging out and being cozy. Definitely like I got my big water bottle tonight. Zach always makes fun of me for this because I just tote it around with me all the time, and I may or may not wash it enough.
I wasn't going to out you like that.
I outed myself. Yeah, that's like over top of the.
Yeah, I'm getting a fix up.
We're still kind of figuring some of the chat out, but yeah, that's like the minimize.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's hard to do this on your leg.
I can imagine. What happened?
I did something.
It's there. It is. Oh, it like switched to a different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. I don't know if anyone's seeing this. We're just kind of warming up and figuring some of the chat out to where I can see it. I have like a teleprompter in front of me. My husband's helping me set this up. So big thanks to him. But trying to have like YouTube and TikTok at the same time is interesting. So normally we're doing streams kind of on the other side of our little like studio office, but I wanted to be in front of my bookshelves, so I made it a little bit harder for him, but he always figures it out. So.
This is my nerdiness here.
Yeah, Zach is like Mr. Videographer, Mr. Live Stream. So.
Hey, everybody. You're getting like
Hello.
a shot of my nose over on TikTok. So, you're welcome. All right. Should see everything.
But let me know that you're here, and let me know what you are reading as you are coming in. I will get into that as we get some people in here. Um, I am trying to read a book for a book club right now. So that one's been interesting. It's not one that I necessarily picked, it's what was picked for the club, but it's been pretty entertaining so far. Currently reading Strength of the Few. I am chomping at the bit to be able to read that book. Uh, I was waiting on it in Libby, and then I got the notification. It was like 20 weeks for a waiting time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just don't have the money right now to like buy a bunch of books and everything, because I wanted Brigands and Bread Knives, and I wanted Strength of the Few, and you know, you know how it is, all the books. But welcome in, welcome in. I'm Amy. Hi. And we are just going to be doing kind of a cozy bookish live tonight where we're just chatting books and kind of cozying up. I've got my I Love You Cherry Much blanket and got my big old fat water bottle. But yeah, we're just going to be hanging out, and let me know as you're coming in what you are reading right now. I am currently reading Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber for a book club that is local to me. It's going to be my first time to this particular book club, and this is definitely an interesting book. I read this author's like Once Upon a Time series, but this is like their like first adult fantasy, and it's definitely been interesting, kind of like an urban fantasy that takes place in LA with like urban legends, and there's a lot going on, but it's been entertaining. So but say hi and let me know that you're here as you are coming in. And my screen went blank.
Okay, it's resetting. You're still live.
Okay.
I'm not sure why it's doing that. So
I'm looking at a teleprompter so I can see chat right now because I'm live on YouTube and on TikTok. So we've got like two different things going right now. So if you comment and it takes me a minute to respond, the screen may have gone black. So just letting you know. But hi, welcome in, welcome in. I hope you are doing well tonight on this Friday night. I can't believe that we're already like so far into December. So thank you, Lacey, for following. Glad to have a new friend. I try to, if you're a bookish person and I see we have like similarities as far as like what we read, I usually will follow you back, but I will look at all of that once we are done with the stream tonight. But I've got a lot of like interesting topics to talk about tonight, so I'm definitely excited to get into those. I'm just kind of letting people come in and kind of greet everybody, see how everybody's doing today. Let me know how your day was. Let me know what you're reading right now. And yeah, I just want to know that you are here and ready to hang out.
I'm excited. Let's go.
That's my husband. He is Nerd Cave Network in the chat, and he has very kindly helped me set all of this up. He is Mr. Livestream. And he says he's been reading Strength of the Few and excited to start the last Mistborn. Yes, we recently finished The Well of Ascension, and it wasn't as good as the first book, in my opinion, but the ending was incredible. So, very excited to get into Hero of Ages, and I need to get the copy of it that's in this art style so it matches the other two books that I have. But yeah, we've finished a few books recently, and it feels weird that I only have like one book on the docket right now. I usually am juggling at least two or three, if not more. But yeah, I just am reading Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. She wrote the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. This is her first adult fantasy. And I'm reading this for a book club, so it wasn't necessarily one that I picked, but it's been entertaining so far. It's like an urban fantasy in LA, so it's kind of like Hollywood urban legends and things like that. But it hasn't been a perfect book, but it's definitely been entertaining. But as you're coming in, let me know how you're doing today, and definitely let me know what you have been reading. I've got a few different topics that I'm going to talk about tonight. It just depends on like how long we go with different topics and everything. But I definitely am focusing on like winter type reads since we're kind of getting into that season. So I'm definitely a seasonal reader, even though I do have like the fantasy series that I want to read and things like that. But yeah, I'm definitely a seasonal reader. But the books that I've finished recently, I just yesterday finished Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne. And I think that was like probably my least favorite out of the trilogy, but it was still like a really strong and satisfying conclusion to the trilogy. I just didn't love it as much as the other two books. I kind of found it hard to like stay engaged. I think there was just a lot of like buildup in the book, but my husband and I like to listen, like sit down and listen to audiobooks together. I'll like immersion read where I'll like have it in front of me. And we recently finished Fool's Errand, which is the first of the Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb. We are definitely like Robin Hobb fans around here. So if you're a Robin Hobb fan, definitely let me know in the chat. This was so good, but also heartbreaking. If you know, you know. And then we also finished The Well of Ascension, the second book in the Mistborn trilogy. And we enjoyed this. I don't think it was as strong as the first Mistborn book, but definitely excited to read Hero of Ages. So those are three books that I've finished recently. And yeah, we've just kind of been catching up on our buddy reads and things like that. We had finished the Live Ship Trader trilogy by Robin Hobb and then jumped into Fool's Errand. And we finished that within like a week. But it took us months to finish Ship of Destiny. We just kind of we got really into anime this year. And so we were watching a lot of anime instead of reading. You pick up your books, kids, and turn off the television. That's that's how you get your reading done. But guys, let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you are reading. Welcome on TikTok and on YouTube. We are live on both places. I had done a poll over on my YouTube about when would be a good time to do a live. And they said like at night on the weekends. So I picked this Friday night and am excited to see everybody come in and just kind of have a cozy Friday night. So hopefully 7 o'clock isn't too early or too, I wouldn't think it'd be too late, but that's a good time, like right after dinner and all of that. But I know it's like we're central time. So I know that correlates differently for everybody, especially across the US and everything. But let me know where you're watching from. We are in the state of Florida, so Central Time. Hello, how are you doing? Hey, Bane. And yeah, so let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you are currently reading. But excited to have everybody here. Definitely let me know how you're doing over on TikTok. But I've got different topics I'm going to cover tonight. You might hear me repeat myself just as I see more people come in. I'm going to be repeating myself. But I've got some different topics I'm going to cover tonight, all bookish topics, and definitely like talking about like winter books. I'm definitely a seasonal reader in that regard. But recently I finished Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne. And then with my husband, I finished Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb and The Well of Ascension in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. So we've got a few different books that we finished recently. Literally, as of like yesterday, I finished Fury of the Gods. And then I'm currently reading Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber, who wrote the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, which is like YA fantasy, but this was their first adult fantasy. And it's been pretty interesting so far. It's definitely entertaining. It's like adult fantasy, urban fantasy in like LA with like Hollywood urban legends. So yeah, it's been entertaining, but I'm reading it for a book club. It's not one that I whoops. It wasn't one that I picked for myself. My husband is over here accidentally turned the volume up on his phone, if you heard that. But yeah, we're just here being cozy tonight. Let me know how you're being cozy tonight. I've got my I Love You Cherry Much blanket. Can you see that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Well,
it's upside down. I love you cherry much. Got my big fat water bottle, which the handle is broken and the top part, it's all broken, but
it's well loved.
It's well loved. And I think I got this for like $5 at like Dollar Tree or something, but it tells me like how I'm supposed to like drink water throughout the day. Am I as good about it as I should be? Absolutely not, but we try. We try. But let me know how you're doing as you're coming in. Let me know how your day was. Let me know what you are reading right now. I always want to know what people are reading. And yeah, I'm just excited about tonight. What time is it?
It is currently 7:20.
Okay. I think at like 7:30, maybe we'll get into some specific topics.
Specific topics. I'm on screen over on YouTube, at least. Hey, everybody. Y'all make sure. Put your books in the comments. All right. No fooling around here. If you only read one book, that's okay. We're only reading one book right
Can
now.
they hear you on TikTok?
They can hear through your microphone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's my husband, if you're wondering what the deep male voice is.
I would hope.
He has very graciously helped me tonight. He is like the live stream guru in our area. Like anytime somebody has a live stream question, they're like, "Hey Zach, help me out." I saw a comment. I can read me reading
Phenomenons.
Okay, Bane.
Bane's got the jokes, y'all. Bane's
got the jokes. So we are live on TikTok and YouTube. So if you see me respond to a comment that you don't see, it's probably on the other platform. That's probably why. But yeah, let me know how you're doing as you are coming in and what you are currently reading. I'm going to repeat myself. I currently have been reading and have finished Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne. I literally finished that yesterday. And that's the last book of his Bloodsworn Saga trilogy, which I feel like was the weakest of the three. But he was writing this right after his daughter had passed away. And so I think it was a really just painful time for him. And I'm sure it was very difficult to write that book. But I still feel like it was a really great conclusion, a satisfying conclusion. So I am definitely glad that I read that trilogy. And then with my husband, we kind of buddy read. We read together where we're listening to the audiobook, like sitting down together on the couch or laying in the bed. and I will like immersion read, like looking at this while I'm listening. But we finished Fool's Errand, which is the first book of the Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb. So this is the third series in her whole realm of the Elderling universe. So if you love Robin Hobb, then you understand our love and commitment to the series. But this was such a fantastic book and definitely heartbreaking, but excited to see where the rest of the trilogy goes. Hello over on YouTube. So glad. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're here. Evelette Denise.
Yes, Denise. Over on the vertical side.
On the vertical. I'm so glad that you enjoyed the autumn cozy videos. I don't know if I will do as much with like winter stuff because like that's like end of the year kind of wrapping up, and it's like, oh, what was the best of the year? You know, all of that types of videos. So that might be more of what I'm doing, but we will see. But I am talking a lot of winter stuff tonight. So we're getting some seasonal content as well.
So with the Tawny Man trilogy.
With Tawny Man trilogy, yes.
This book, everybody, literally had us at one point completely stop reading. And I was crying.
Like, I never cry at books, but this one, Zach and I were literally just like hugging each other and crying.
Yeah.
At one part of this book. Yeah. So if that doesn't, but it's like you have been with characters for quite a while. You're coming back into their lives in a different point of their timeline or whatever. So you've really had a lot of experience with these characters. So anything they go through, anything that happens to them is always going to be really emotional. But I'm very curious to see what else is going to happen in this trilogy. But yes, it was just emotionally devastating. But as you're coming in, let me know how you're doing, where you're watching from, and what you are currently reading. That's what I'm talking about right now. So I recently finished this with my husband. That is the male voice that you're going to be hearing throughout the night. And then we also finished a buddy read of The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. Of course, this is the second book of his Mistborn trilogy. This one wasn't as strong as the first book, but I feel like the ending of this really made up for a lot of kind of the lag in the middle, in my opinion, with like a lot of the political scheming, which I love politics, but I felt like it was just dragging a little bit. But I am so excited to read Hero of Ages and see how this trilogy ends. That's what I've been reading recently, and I'm currently reading The Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. This is their first adult fantasy. They are kind of known for their YA, like the Caraval trilogy and the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, which I read Once Upon a Broken Heart and enjoyed that. This book is like urban fantasy in LA with like Hollywood urban legends and things like that. So it's definitely been entertaining, but not a perfect book. But I'm reading it for a book club and definitely excited to go to that book club because it'll be my first time. But like through social media, I have been getting to know more like local bookish people, which is kind of cool. So I got invited to join this book club. So I'm excited to do that. If you hear like weird stomach noises and burping, I apologize. For whatever reason, like as I like talk for an extended period of time, I have like stomach issues, like chronic illness issues. And so she's just really sensitive. And I talk for a while and she's just lets out the burps. So I apologize.
Guys, welcome into the stream. Make sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything that Amy is doing here on the channel. She brings a lot of great book recommendations and everything. So show her some love down in the chat. And for the people that don't understand what we do, like buddy reads, can you explain that to everybody?
Yes. So I've been mentioning the buddy reads, and I think a lot of people, when you say buddy reads, it's like, oh, me and my friends on the internet are like reading a book at the same time, but we're reading it on our own time. My husband, Zach, and I, we literally will sit on the couch or lay in the bed together and listen to an audiobook at the same time. I will usually be immersion reading because I struggle just sitting and listening to an audiobook. Like my brain does not compute with that. But I will like have the physical book in front of me while we're listening. So yeah, that's kind of how we do our buddy reads. And we definitely were slow with some of our buddy reads this year, but we've been catching up. And like honestly, we read Fool's Errand in like a week, which was crazy.
Surprising. Where Ship of Destiny.
Like we were so surprised because Ship of Destiny took the book before that took us so freaking long. Like
almost.
But we got so caught up on the anime this year.
Anime was so good.
We were watching a lot of anime. So
and Well of Ascension took from like
Hi,
February.
Tracy. I love the idea of actually listening to the book at the same time. You know, even before I started doing like book content, Zach and I were kind of we were reading books together. I actually used to read them just out loud to him, and he called me his personal audiobook. But that like it really like strains your voice, and like you get like haggard after doing that for a while. And so we just kind of switched to audiobooks. And that's definitely like much more like even though I like reading it out loud, it's like having the audiobook where it's more seamless is definitely a better experience. But hi, welcome in. Let me know how you are doing and what you are reading currently. We are live here on TikTok and YouTube. I see we've got like 40 people here on TikTok. So I see you. You better say hi. You better say hi. And welcome on YouTube. I'm glad that you are here. We are just having a cozy Friday night. I've got my blanket. I've got my big old water bottle. But yeah, grab a snack or maybe dessert if you've already eaten dinner, depending on what time it is for you. And then like, I don't know, make some tea or cocoa. I'm in Florida, so unfortunately it's still like kind of warm around here. We had a cold snap for a while, but it's warmed up again. It's like up in the mid 70s. So I'm still reading Priory of the Orange Tree. Seeing you read that, I have been wanting like that has been on my list. And Zach is laughing right now because we tried to read that together and he just was not into it. But I still want to read it. So I definitely am wanting to pick it back up. Maybe in January or February, I will pick that back up because I've just got so many other books to read before the end of the year. Still taking a long time. I won't
lug it with me.
Won't lug it with me to read. Well, yeah, it's a huge book. I've got it on my Kindle because yes, it is such a huge book. Like I feel like that would be exhausting to like hold up. But guys, let me know how you're doing as you are coming in, and let me know what you are reading currently. But today has just kind of been like a low-key day for me. I was kind of prepping for this tonight and then had some laundry to do, and I don't wear makeup that often, so I had to like put makeup on and everything. So that always takes a little bit of time. But I've been getting back into playing Animal Crossing, and I think I'm like back into like full on addiction with that. Yeah, really enjoying that right now. But yeah, let me know what you're reading right now. And I know I said it recently, so I don't want to repeat myself too many times. But now, currently listening to The Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber for a local book club.
So I've been reading Strength of the Few.
Zach is like, I need to talk about the books that I want to talk about.
And guys, if y'all have not read Will of the Many, Amy has an awesome video that talks about Will of the Many. She dives deep into that. So go check that out. But Strength of the Few has been amazing. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it picks up right where the last one left off. And my, oh my. My oh my! I can't wait for Amy to start it because I need to talk to somebody about this.
Yeah, Zach, because I don't want to listen to it with the audiobook. I just feel like I would struggle with that one a little bit because it is apparently pretty complicated. I am waiting for my book in Libby, and you can't always buy books all the time. It's just not financially feasible nor responsible. So he's always like, I've been listening to Strength of the Few today, and crazy stuff is happening. I'm like, quit telling me. Like, I don't want to know. Like, leave me alone. Tracy, ordered to sign personal life of the Everlasting. Oh my goodness. Please do a video of that because I want to see it. Yes, Zach has all the jokes. So if you hear a male voice popping in over on TikTok, that is my husband. You can see him over on YouTube. If you want to see him, you can find
because
that in
I'm beautiful.
But yeah, he's popping in every now and then because we do read books together. So he definitely has his own comments, and like he was the first one to really talk about like the Sun Eater series with me, and then all of a sudden it started blowing up on TikTok and everything, and seeing everybody read it, I'm like, okay, I need to read this now. And so hopefully we'll be doing that at the beginning of next year. But yeah, he's definitely a big on like Sun Eater.
Yeah, so. I've got the Shadows on Time, Shadows Upon Time on Audible, but because I'm in Strength of the Few, I'm like, I can't start this yet, but I want to. But I'm super excited. And Christopher Rocchio just announced his new series that's coming out in 2027. That's a fantasy series, so super excited about it. But go read the Sun Eater series. First book's a little slow, but it's worth it. It's like a good relationship, you know? It takes a little time.
What do you... Oh, it takes time. Okay.
You gotta get to know, you gotta get to know somebody. Guys, let us know what you're reading. Make sure to like and subscribe over on all the places and like over on the TikTok.
So guys, it's about 7:30 my time, 7:34. So I think 30 minutes is enough time to kind of let people come in and everything. So I'm going to get into some of the topics that I have for tonight. And first up is my 10 before the end, how I'm doing on that list. And I've done 3 of the 10. So I've read Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne. I literally finished that yesterday. It took me a little bit to read that one. I was just kind of having a hard time like staying connected in the story. But then I read The Everlasting, which is also on my list. That book was so good. I was really impressed by that. And then finished Fool's Errand within like a week with my husband, which we were really surprised that we read it that quickly. But yeah, I've checked those 3 off. So Strength of the Few is still on my list. Brigands and Bread Knives, part of the Legends and Lattes series. Unbound by Michael R. Miller, which that is... Do I have that book readily available? Not really, but if you are familiar with the Songs of Chaos series, the author actually sent me this book, which I was very thankful to get a copy of. But I want to read the next book in this series, and they're on Kindle Unlimited. So that's, I think, where I'm going to read the next one. But how gorgeous is that cover? Like that art. I love that cover.
The Stone Fist one is really good, like the prequel to Ascended. Like it really, it's a little bit darker of a tone than Ascended.
This book.
Yeah, The Last Stand of the Stone Fist.
I need to read this
So
one.
good.
It's just like a little novella in between that book and the first and the second book. So I need to read Strength of the Few, Brigands and Bread Knives, Unbound, which is the second book of that trilogy, the series. Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. I think that's how you say her name. I had that on like my fall TBR, and I still haven't gotten to it yet, but I really want to read that. And then I kind of just have like a general like Christmas theme books, which I will get into some of that. I usually read some holiday romances like this time of year, so I didn't have any one particular one that I wanted to read. I have like a list of them, so we'll get into that. And then The Winter King by C.L. Wilson. I wanted to listen to this by audiobook, but I cannot find it on like my Libby or Hoopla. It was on Hoopla, and then I think they took it away, which I'm really upset about. But I do have it. I think it was on Kindle Unlimited. So, and then Hogfather by Terry Pratchett, which I actually have a copy of. How crazy is that cover? It's like give you motion sickness. The Bear and the Nightingale. You know what? I was actually looking at Bear and the Nightingale the other day, and I was like, maybe I should try this again. I've tried it a few times, and like it just wasn't hitting for me, but you never know. But this is like, if you're familiar with Terry Pratchett, his whole like Discworld universe, this is like his version of a. Oh, this is more. This is like his take on a Santa Claus story, but like in his Discworld universe. So, Bear and the Nightingale is on my 10 before the end, but probably won't actually happen. Yeah, let me know what is on your 10 before the end. I definitely want to know. So I've gotten 3 out of the 10, so I've got 7 left. And after I finish my book club read that I'm reading right now, I will probably definitely get into one of these. So we will see which one I get into. But yeah, I was kind of looking at Bear and the Nightingale the other night, and I was like, maybe, I don't know, but I'm bad about like going onto Libby at night and just kind of like looking through what's in there and adding, like, I have growing lists of different genres and categories on my Libby app that it just keeps growing and growing. Like my TBR on Goodreads, I look today, I've got like 1,700 books plus on my TBR on Goodreads. It's like I will never read all of these books. So, is this your 10 before the end?
That's my.
Or your books?
This is my 5 before the end.
5 before the end. Strength of the Few, Shadows Upon Time, Solo Leveling number 13, and Hero of Ages. Do you have that copy of Solo Leveling?
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay. So that is my husband's, the books he wants to read before the end of the year. If you don't have 10 before the end, that is totally okay. I know that was just like a trend that was going on. Let me know the books that you want to read before the end of the year. So I definitely, if I don't get Strength of the Few anytime soon, I will probably try to jump into like a holiday romance just because I've been doing a lot of fantasy and I feel like I need a little bit of like a palate cleanser type thing. So, and I also went to the library the other day, which I should have brought those books in here, but I didn't. But I do have that video up on my uh, TikTok and Instagram. It's on here. It's on YouTube as well. I have it in my shorts. That what I got from the library. Hi, Iffy. How's it going? Just finished Strength of the Few, and I'm so disappointed. Now I know how you felt about Labyrinth's Heart. Really? Oh man, that sucks. I have a Hanukkah romance on my 10 before. Awesome. Uh, there was a holiday romance book. It's called. It's like three holidays and a wedding, I think. And it has like it's like it feels very hallmarky, but it's like Hanukkah, Christmas, and Ramadan, which I thought was really cool having all of those like represented. But that's really cool. Is it? I think it's like Love and Latkes or however you say that. But yes, welcome in everybody, and let me know how you are doing, what you are reading. Hi, Jess, over on YouTube. We are just chatting books, chatting what we're reading right now. I'm talking about my 10 before the end and how I've been doing with that list. I've read 3 out of the 10 so far. So I put a little bit of like a chip into it, not not great, but I've read Fury of the Gods, The Everlasting, and Fool's Errand. So that's where I'm at right now. I need to read Strength of the Few, Brigands and Bread Knives, Unbound by Michael R. Miller, which is part of the Songs of Chaos series, The Daughter of the Forest. Definitely going to get into some Christmas holiday themed rom-coms, The Winter King, and Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. Yes, love you a lot, Kay. Okay, I couldn't remember what the name was. I know I've seen that in Libby and it looked really cute.
If he says, I'm a character focused reader and this was just too ambitious.
Too ambitious. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to keep up with the comments. Yeah, that's really interesting. I know people have said that it definitely is an ambitious story in that there's just a lot going on. So I'm really curious how I'm gonna feel about it. Like I really loved the ending of The Will of the Many and how it just kind of went to this like kind of large epic scale. I don't want to give anything away for anyone that hasn't read it, but yeah, I'm curious how that's all going to play out. But I hate that it was disappointing. 7 of my 10 is literally just hobby. So I did recently finish Fool's Errand, which I'm going to have a review of this hopefully next week. But yeah, my husband and I have been buddy reading the whole Realm of the Elderlings universe. We will sit down and listen to the audiobook together and I'll immersion read at the same time. But we finished this in like a week. It took us way too long to finish Ship of Destiny, but absolutely loved this. It was heartbreaking. We literally were like hugging each other and crying at one point, but this is such a fantastic book.
Tracy says, I finished 10 last year, my 10 last year. This year, I think I'll get to 6 of them.
You'll think you'll get to 6 of your 10, Tracy? Yeah, I don't know how many I will get to. I mean, it would be nice if I could read all of them, but like, oops, sorry, my mic, sorry. Realistically, I don't know since I've only finished like 3, but the month isn't over yet. November isn't over yet. So we'll see. Just over on YouTube, I grabbed a random book at the library and I think it may be a little spicy. Yeah, like I like romance books and everything. I'm not a spice person, so I feel you on that. But I'm curious what the title is. I loved the pictures of you and the kids at the library today. That was so cute. Jess messaged me earlier and she was like, Sky wanted me to tell you that we went to the library today.
I love that. I love that.
So Guy said you can read it to me, and I said, no, ma'am. That's so funny. So we are live on TikTok and on YouTube. If you hear a man's voice, that is my husband. He has been graciously helping me out. He is like Mr. Livestream Guru. So everybody like give like the clap emoji or some hearts for Zach helping me out tonight. But as we're getting into like the topics that I wanted to talk about tonight. Let me know the books that you want to read before the end of the year. It's called Silent Songbird. I have not heard of that. So I finished 3 of the 10 that I want to finish before the end of the year. So doing okay, you know, but we will see. I got to get some water.
So as Amy talks, Silent Songbird is this is the synopsis. Desperate to flee a political marriage to her cousin, King Richard II's closest advisor, Lord Shively, a man twice her age with shadowy motives.
Jennifer.
Evangeline runs away and joins a small band of servants journeying back to Kleinval, their home village. Pretending to be mute, she gets to know Wesley Lee Weiss, their handsome young leader, who is intrigued by the beautiful servant girl. But when the truth comes out, it may shatter any hope that love could grow between them.
Okay, so like a fantasy romance kind of book. If I read this, it'll be the only book I read this year. I'm trying. Hey, one book is a book, and like it, I think because like if you're like me and you're like in the book online community and there's kind of this like sort of competitiveness with like reading and everything, it's like I realize that we probably read more than even just the average reader. But I think one book or 20 books, like it's still fantastic to be able to say that you read something this year and you picked it out. Hi, Jennifer. How's it going? Hello, hello. You are seriously inspiring us to read. That means so much to me. Every time you tell me that, like it just means so much. It really does. Like that's like for me, reading was definitely like a kind of coping thing with just dealing with like my health issues and everything. And it just became something that I kind of fell back in love with a few years ago. And so being able to encourage other people to read and share that experience with them is just really special to me. So we've kind of talked about the books that we are wanting to read before the end of the year. Let's see. So I mentioned some holiday romance books. I've got some recommendations and then I've got my like TBR. So we can maybe get into some of that. I'm going to reread When Zachary Beaver Came to Town. I have not heard of that. We did a little tour. We did a little tour of our local library today so we can take advantage of it all has to offer. Absolutely, because like supporting your library is more than just books. Like it's so cool, like all the different things that libraries can offer now. And I know it always like varies like library to library, but I know that they have a lot of like kids programs and things like that. I went to our library the other day. You can see it on my short and TikTok that I posted on my socials today. They literally have like a jazz group that comes once a month and they play kind of popular songs and jazz tunes and things like that. And they literally helped put together this whole like jazz room at our library where it's like old like records and CDs and all of this stuff that are jazz and different books on jazz. So it's just really cool, like seeing how different parts of the community come together and do things at the library. But yes, it's always important to take advantage of your library and use the things that are there because they've got so much going on that you wouldn't even realize. So let me know, would you guys want to talk holiday romance books, just wintry books? My top fantasy series that are completed series, or I really like doing my mood reader prompts. I've been doing a little bit of that, but like winter mood reader prompts. And then series that I want to read in 2026. I know it's a lot of different topics, but let me know what of those sound interesting to you. I definitely want to read one of the like wintry books, which was on my 10 before the end, is Hogfather, which is like Terry Pratchett's version of a Santa Claus book, which this cover is so crazy, but I kind of love it. It's very like 80s, early 90s. It sounds like I'm a romance reader judging by that book description, holiday romance. Yeah, like I read romance. I don't necessarily consider myself like uh that's like that's not the sole genre that I read, but I would say that I am a romance reader. But usually when people ask me like, "Oh, what kind of books do you read?" I usually say fantasy. But I know like from that description I could see what you're saying, and to me it sounded like fantasy romance because it was
Yeah, it was
historical romance maybe.
Yeah, it was more fantasy
Fantasy
romance.
romance. So I mean, and a lot of fantasy does have romance in it, even if it's just like a subplot. So I'm always up for a little bit of romance in my story.
You actually read quite a lot of romance. Like that's kind of like your audiobooks that you tend to listen to.
Yeah, my audiobooks, like I will do a romance for that. I've been trying to listen to more fantasy. I just find it hard to like follow because they're more complex with details as far as like magic and politics and things like that. So sometimes I have a harder time following that on audio. Do what?
And
The action, yeah. But I'm trying. I'm trying. I just can't stomach any more self-help. Too much of that in life coach training. I am not one for self-help books, so I totally feel you. And I know Zach has read a lot of self-help stuff, especially, or I guess business type stuff.
yeah, it's more like business development, entrepreneurship kind of stuff. But yeah, there is still some self-help parts to all of that.
I know like it can be a bit much after a couple of them.
I will say
they start to sound the same.
I will say the best book that I've read in that genre is Unreasonable Hospitality. It is absolutely fantastic.
I have been curious about that one and wanting to try it. I've got all these other books that I'm trying to get to, so it's like, oh, just add it to the list. I don't know if you heard me earlier. I was looking at my Goodreads the other day, and I literally have like over 1,700 books on my TBR over there. So I just keep adding and just I definitely won't get all those, but so I'm just gonna pick a topic, and I think
Just ask for
holiday romance. Okay. I read the 4 agreements almost every year. It's self-help-ish. I have not read that. I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, Nick really loves the 4 agreements. My coworker, and I've read like a synopsis of it. I haven't read all of it though. But yeah, it's good stuff.
So this is my list of recommendations for holiday romances. And this is more of just like rom-coms. Some of them will have like a little bit of magic in there, but not anything like crazy. So the first part of my list, the bulk of my list is like adult holiday rom-coms. So first up is Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. I know that was pretty popular last year. They have another book that I think is more of a novella that's kind of in that same series. But it's like two friends who like travel home together every year during the holidays, and it's really sweet and cute. It's really funny. And then I have Resting Scrooge Face by Megan Quinn, which is a novella. So I have a couple of novellas in case you just want like a really short read over the holidays. Like I know it's a really busy time of year, so it's hard to like fit in a full book sometimes. But Resting Scrooge Face by Megan Quinn, that was really funny. I'm going to pull it up on Goodreads because I'm trying to remember the premise and it's totally escaping me. So it's like small town Christmas, second chance romance, and it has like anonymous letters being exchanged. So I'm looking at my review from it. It's like there's good banter in it and everything. So it's just like lighthearted and charming and a cozy read. So that's a good like quick uh romance read. And then another holiday romance novella is Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood. This was part of like a series that Amazon did last year where they had a bunch of different romance authors write these little novellas, and they're like holiday themed. And this was the one that I read. It was really cute. It's like kind of a forced proximity situation where these people are like stuck together during like a snowstorm. And it was like they were like friends kind of growing up from what I remember. And yeah, childhood friends. And it was just really like, I was surprised how kind of like deep emotionally it got, even though it's a pretty like short story. But it's definitely like a good kind of rom-com, but a novella. So you're not having to get into like a full-length book. And then getting into some more like diverse choices. Second Chance Christmas by Jaquel J was a really good one, and it really has like a good representation of kind of like blended family situations, which I thought they did really well. Sorry, I'm looking up my reviews. So it's a second chance romance where it's like a divorced mom and then she's like starts dating somebody else, and just kind of how they try to fit into each other's lives. And it just has like a really sweet and really great like really great communication within the relationship. And there is some spice in some of these books, so just be aware of that. I am someone that like skips over spice, so but just be aware that these are in there. But that is by Jaquel J. So we do have Black characters in here, and it definitely has like some more serious topics because we're dealing with like families and kind of family drama and things like that. But I just felt like it had a really good representation of being able to like have a blended family and, you know, treat each other with respect, even if it is a more complicated situation. So, Second Chance Romance by Jaquel J. And then another read that has some more diversity in it is Three Holidays and a Wedding by Uzma Jalaluddin. I hope I'm saying that right. And this was definitely like Hallmark, but it has Christmas, Hanukkah, and Ramadan represented in it. And it was just so cute. There was not any spice in this one, but it just has like really like heartwarming, like Hallmark vibes. But we're representing these different religions and holidays. So it's like all these people are on a flight together and then they kind of have to land and get stranded in this like small town, I believe in Canada. And I apologize, Christmas, Hanukkah, Ramadan, and Eid. So yeah, I just really like that there was that diversity in there. And then like everybody kind of coming together and just showing respect for one another and just kind of like the holiday cheer and yeah, it was just a really sweet book. I really enjoyed it. So if you want something that has a little bit of romance and then just kind of like heartwarming vibes, no spice, I would definitely recommend Three Holidays and a Wedding. And then a really popular one is The Christmas Tree Farm by Lori Gilmore. If you want something that is like comforting in that you kind of are able to predict like what's going to happen. You want something that's like small town romance and you want like cozy little shops and Christmas. I think there's a Christmas festival and just a cute romance. There is spice in this book, but it's just a really cute, fun time. The Christmas Tree Farm by Lori Gilmore. And then a book that's part of kind of like a series that is like seasonal is Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison, which they also just had another holiday romance come out, Good Spirits. I have not read that yet. But Love Light Farms is literally on a Christmas tree farm, so I don't think it gets more Christmas than that. And it's really cute and it's kind of a unexpected romance, but yeah, I definitely liked that one. And then In a Holidays by Christina Lauren is like sorry, is like Groundhog Day, like the movie, but during Christmas. So this woman keeps kind of like repeating the same day and she's on like a Christmas holiday vacation with like her family and kind of family friends. It's something that happens every year. And there's kind of a complicated, like kind of love triangle situation, but it's definitely entertaining with like the Groundhog Day situation. And then I have a couple of YA recommendations. And first is Only for the Holidays by Abiola Bello, which this is a diverse read with Black characters. And it takes place in England. And it definitely was a really cute romance. It was kind of like uh, sort of like first love, like the complicated feelings of dating as a teenager and everything, but it didn't feel like juvenile or anything. I thought that was really cute. And then Tessa and Weston, The Best Christmas Ever by Abby Emmons. They are a creator on YouTube and they kind of talk about like how to write books and everything, but this was their Christmas book. This is definitely like a like more wholesome YA kind of holiday romance and it's really sweet and it definitely has like a little bit of a cheese factor, but I think it's more of like a family friendly holiday romance, if that makes sense. But it does have some um excuse me. Sorry. I'm sorry if you could hear that. um my stomach is has a mind of its own. But yeah, it's like another kind of like first love romance, and it just has really heartwarming characters, some complex family situations, but it's really sweet. So that is Tess and Weston, The Best Christmas Ever by Abby Emmons. So I know that was a lot. So hopefully you got something out of that. But as you are watching, guys, welcome in. I hope that you are doing well. Let me know how you're doing, where you're watching from, and what you're currently reading. I have been just talking about some holiday romance recommendations, and I have a TBR that is pretty extensive, but it's kind of like just holiday romance books that I've collected where it's like I could pick and choose whichever ones I'm in the mood for to read. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But let me know what you're reading right now, or what like holiday books you are planning to read. I have another book on my shelf. It's by David Baldacci, I think is how you say his name, The Christmas Train by him. And I kind of been wanting to read that. And then I also have Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. I know it's a crazy cover, but this is like in his Discworld, and this is his version of a Santa story. I do have A Boy Called Christmas on my winter read list. So if you don't want romances, we can move on to some just like winter and holiday recommendations. I can get into that because I know that was a lot of romance books, which I enjoy. I enjoy a good holiday romance. I'm not one that like watches like Hallmark, but will I read those stories? Absolutely.
Make sure, everybody, as Amy's getting ready for the next segment, to hit the like button. Share this with a reader in your life, and make sure to subscribe.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you are enjoying this. Welcome to everybody on TikTok and on YouTube. We are on both platforms. And yeah, we're just kind of having a cozy Friday night where we're talking books. And we are being cozy. I've got my cozy blanket and my big old water bottle, and just I'm sitting in my comfort spot in front of my books. So this is cozy for me, being surrounded by books, which I'm sure you can relate to. But yeah, just talking all things books, and definitely talking about some seasonal reads tonight. I'm definitely a seasonal reader, so trying to give you some kind of wintry and holiday recommendations. So we talk holiday romances. I've got a long TBR, but we could come to that later. Let's just talk like wintry books. And these like may or may not have like a specific holiday attached to them, but most of them just take place in the winter. I'll try to go through these pretty quickly. So first up is The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. This is a Japanese translated book, and this is one that Zach and I read together, and it was really an interesting book, a really fun book. It kind of takes place around Christmas, but that is definitely not the focus. It's about a boy whose grandfather passes away, and he owned a bookshop, and this boy is kind of like having to figure out what is going on with his life. And then a magic cat shows up and helps him kind of understand and appreciate the power of books. It is definitely a cute book. It really has some great messages in there. It's got some really cool magic to it. It's kind of like traveling to other worlds, dimensions. So definitely would recommend that. I am, if Tracy is still here, I love my Japanese cat books. And so this is definitely one of them. But yes, that is The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. And there is a sequel to it that I would also recommend. It kind of has some of the same characters. It's just like a little bit later on. And then, of course, the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett. This is a really great cozy fantasy with a scholar who studies dryadology or fae, and her kind of like adventures as far as like her research goes. And she goes to like these kind of like remote wintry places, and it has a really great romance in there as well. But I really love Emily. She's a really great main character. She's kind of nerdy and awkward, and she still is just like a really sweet person. She just kind of comes off as a little bit cold, I guess, but she just really cares about her research. But it's told from like journal entry perspectives, and it's just such a fun series. And it's a completed series now. There are 3 books, and I would definitely recommend if you want like a cozy fantasy with a little bit of nerdy vibes and like fae, but like evil fae. And like there's definitely some stakes in there with the fae as well.
Welcome, Micah Dodd, to the TikToks.
Welcome in, everyone. We are talking wintry books. And my third recommendation on this list is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. This is definitely an emotional and intense read, but it is so powerful and moving. This is about a small town. I believe it was in Alaska. Don't quote me on that. It's somewhere in like the Pacific Northwest, but it is about a small town where everything is about hockey, and like hockey is going to like save the town, and like the school team is needing to win. And did you look up where it is?
Sweden.
What?
Northern Sweden.
Beartown?
That's what it says. Hold on.
I think that's where the author is from. But there is an incident that happens, and it really just like rocks the whole town. And it's about like how people handle like complicated situations, as far as when like violence happens to someone in the town, and how people respond to it, kind of the politics that are in this town. And it definitely has some heartbreaking moments to it, but it handles the situation with so much care. It's a really moving story. Frederick Bachman is an incredible author. His books are so just impactful, and the way that he writes, it's like every line feels quotable. It's just so impressive, his writing to me. So definitely check your trigger warnings with that, with Beartown, but definitely would recommend that one for a wintry read.
Yeah, it takes place in Sweden.
It takes place in Sweden. Okay. I don't know why I thought it was like Pacific Northwest. And then kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, an absolute classic, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. I don't think I need to say too much about this one. This is like the Chronicles of Narnia. And of course, the movies about it, is it a series or movie being made about it? It's such a beloved story, but it takes place in winter, and there are some like Christmas elements to it, but it's a classic for a reason. It's so magical and whimsical. Yes, Turkish delights. I fell in love with this book as a kid. I'm going to date myself with this. I remember going to the library and renting the VHS tapes of like the BBC movie version of, or it was like a mini series version of The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, which was made in like the 80s, I think. I was born in 91. But I remember renting those and watching the movie, and I thought it was so incredible, and reading the book, and it was it was just so magical, and definitely a great one to read. I like watching the movie this time of year as well, so you can kind of get it on both ends. But definitely recommend that one. And then another classic, which I think is perfect for this time of year because to me it is cozy, is of course The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And this was one that I read when I was younger as well. And it was kind of like the first like bigger fantasy book that I read. I think I was like in 6th grade. And I just remember really loving it. And when I saw the movies, I was so happy when they did the scene with like Gollum and Bilbo. I don't know if I can remember his name for a second. Doing like the riddles and everything. They got that so perfectly. I was so happy with that. Even though I know people kind of like hate on those movies, they got my favorite part right. So, but that is such a classic story, and I think it's perfect for this time of year. It's just like classic quest fantasy. And of course, Bilbo is a fantastic main character, and our dwarves. It's just, it's a perfect read, I think, for this time of year. And another kind of cozy fantasy, this is number 6 on my list, is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. And I have surprisingly read a lot of T. Kingfisher. I've kind of grown to just, it's like, you know, kind of what you're getting with her books. She has a very specific writing style, and I just really enjoy it. And this one was definitely like a quirky, whimsical kind of fantasy where we have a witch whose magical powers are centered around baking, and she has a sourdough starter that is like sentient, that is like her familiar. It's kind of weird and kooky, however you want to describe that, but it really does grow into like this epic scale. And it's kind of how she is able to use her baking magic for good. So definitely would recommend that one. That is like a YA kind of cozy fantasy. It's fun, it's weird, it's whimsical, and I would definitely recommend. Now, one that is like high fantasy, it is like just hardcore, like gonna hit you in the feels. The Sword of Kayan by M.L. Wong. This is not for the faint-hearted, but it is such an epic and incredible story. It is not my favorite of this author's books, but it is definitely an incredible story. I personally love Blood Over Brighthaven more, but this is just so wonderful. It has amazing character work in it. This is like taking place in kind of an alternate sort of universe where it's like our world, but there's some magic, and it's kind of like elemental magic. And it's definitely a family drama sort of story, but it's about this small town where they're kind of training to be warriors that are helping protect their nation. And they have basically like ice magic. And it's about how there is basically like political conflict and war coming to their like front doorstep, and how the government is dealing with it, how these people on the island deal with it. But it's definitely centered around the main character, Masaki, who is a mother and just a really fascinating and fierce character. The emotional journey that she goes on and that you go on with her is incredible. It is definitely an intense read. I would check your trigger warnings, but it just does some really beautiful and amazing things. Tons of trigger warnings for this one. Zach is being myself over in the chat on YouTube. But yeah, definitely an amazing read. M.L. Wong really is doing something special in the fantasy genre, and definitely would recommend Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. But yes, check your trigger warnings. One that does not necessarily have trigger warnings like that is the YA fantasy Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is such a cool and kind of cozy, sweet romance with some, or fantasy with some romance. And this is about a girl who lives in a library, and she's kind of like an apprentice at the library where they protect magical grimoires, magic books from the world because they don't want to unleash the potentially evil magic in these books. And she kind of learns that maybe the things that she's being told about these books are not exactly true. And she kind of teams up with a magician, with a wizard, a magic user, and the adventure they go on in order to help kind of save the magic, the texts, and kind of the magic of their world. There is a butler character who is a demon, and he is probably my favorite character in the story. But it is just a really heartfelt story. It's very like whimsical with the magic, but it's very wintry, it's very cold, and it's just a perfect read for this time of year. I think I read it like in January of last year, and it was just the perfect read for the winter season. Whew, talking a lot. As I'm going through these books, definitely let me know winter books that you love and enjoy, and let me know if you have read any of the ones that I have been talking about. I know that some of these are popular books, so a lot of people have different opinions on them. But getting to number 9 on my list, Green Glass House by Kate Milford. This is a middle grade book. It does take place around Christmas, but it's like this boy who lives at this old like inn hotel in this kind of weird mansion, and it definitely has like a mystery aspect to it. It is definitely a fun book to read for something a little bit different for the holiday season. I really enjoyed it during the Christmas season, and it's just like it's cute and cozy, but it does have like a cool kind of mystery aspect to it. What are you looking for on your shelf?
I'm trying to find a
wintry book. Next up, one that my husband mentioned earlier, A Boy Called Christmas by Matt Haig. There is a movie version of this on Netflix. It is totally different from the book. Like, there are similar elements and like plot points of the story, but the book I think is way better. It is a little bit more intense in the book, but I think it just has like this classic sort of fairy tale feel, kind of like Northern European, Nordic sort of inspirations in there. But it is just a really like whimsical kind of fairy tale feeling story. I'm going to pull up the synopsis to give you a more accurate description. So, A Boy Called Christmas, it's supposed to be the true story of Father Christmas. And it's about this boy's adventure and how he kind of gets kidnapped. And how he meets like the elves and kind of gets to like the North Pole part of the world. So it definitely is like a Santa Claus or Father Christmas origin story, but it's really a beautiful story. Zach and I actually read the book together and we really enjoyed it. So even though it is like a middle grade story, it just has like a classic kind of holiday story feel to it. Recommending Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That's definitely like, I think when people think of Christmas, they definitely think, or the holidays, winter, they think of that story for sure. If you want a cozy mystery, Christmas Caramel Murder by Joanne Fluke. I know there are a lot of like Christmas themed cozy mysteries out there. And this is definitely like a classic kind of small town cozy mystery centered in the winter. So definitely would recommend that one. And then if you want something that is a little bit like darker sort of fairy tale feeling, which I feel like is I think of like ghost stories, dark fairy tales for like the winter time. Um, Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. It is a YA fantasy. I have not read the rest of the series, but Little Thieves was a really great book. It is kind of, like I said, a darker sort of fairy tale feeling story. I believe it's supposed to be a kind of retelling of the Goose Girl, if you're familiar with that fairy tale. Let me double check that I'm right about that. Yes, it's kind of a retelling of the Goose Girl. So it's this girl who is raised by these gods or goddesses, and she's trying to get away from them and have a different life. And she kind of is trying to like con her way out of the life and just kind of the interesting situations that she gets into. But it does have a little bit of a darker tone to it, even though it is YA. So those are 12 book recommendations for winter books. I love the Polar Express. I love the Polar Express. I have to watch that every year, and I have the book as well. I did a like holiday like live a couple of years ago where I did like readings of different like holiday stories, and I'm pretty sure I read the Polar Express. So if you want to listen to some holiday stories being read, you can go check that out. I read a version of the Nutcracker that was a little bit long, but if you want if you want a little bit of a longer reading kind of session, you can go check that out on my YouTube. But yes, I love the Polar Express. Let me know some of your favorite winter books that you like to read or have read during this time of year. Um, those are my recommendations, those 12. I think those are perfect for this time of year. The Titan's Curse and Lost Hero, those are Percy Jackson books. Uh, do those take place during winter?
Yeah, they take place during winter.
Okay. I definitely love the Percy Jackson series. It is just, it has like this kind of classic feel to it, but it's also like a modern take as far as like, um, the language and slang that the characters use. But
I love that it's
I
like
still really like it.
the hero journey, like introducing kids to that, but like it's like on their level, but it's not dumbing it down at the same time, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
And then we're getting a new season this coming up month.
We are getting a new season of the Percy Jackson show, which I'm excited about that. But yeah, welcome in, guys. I hope that you're doing well. We've got like 87 people over on TikTok, is what I'm seeing. And welcome over on YouTube as well. I hope that you're doing well tonight. We're just kind of having a cozy night where we're talking about books. I'm talking about some seasonal reads tonight. But as you're coming in, let me know what you are reading right now, and let me know what books you would recommend for winter reads.
Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yes, please hit the like button. And if you would like to see more of this face, you can subscribe and follow. And I put out content pretty regularly. It's a little bit different from YouTube and TikTok, but I'm usually like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have been posting a little bit more recently, but I post shorts and larger videos on YouTube, and of course, my regular TikToks. We have a moth in here. I accidentally let it in earlier when I was doing laundry, and it somehow has made its way back here. But so if you see me flailing, that's why there's a moth in the room.
I was wondering where it came from. But it's attracted to the lights in the studio.
Yeah.
It's like light. Ah.
So if we start screaming and flailing, that's why. There's a moth in the room. So I have said earlier, but just for the people that are coming in, currently I am reading The Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber for a local book club that I am going to try to join. And it's been interesting so far. It's like urban fantasy, like taking place in LA with like Hollywood urban legends. So definitely an interesting read. But welcome in, welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Sorry, I'm like messing with my lip gloss. But yeah, we're just kind of talking like seasonal reads. I just gave my winter recommendation list. Let me know what you're reading, or let me know a recommendation for a wintry book. So we've talked winter books, holiday romances. We've talked 10 before the end. So we've covered quite a few things. We've covered quite a few things. I do have my like mood prompts, which for this one, I definitely would want to hear your responses to these. So I have my kind of series that I've been doing where it's like, I'm a mood reader. So if I felt this way, like what books would I recommend for this? And I'm kind of focusing it on winter. So wintry book recommendations based on like mood reader prompts. So it's like, oh, I want a book that feels like being cozy on the couch in front of the fireplace with a mug of hot chocolate. What is a book that feels like that? And then I can give recommendations, but I want to hear your recommendations about the prompts as well. So definitely let me know as we kind of get into that. But yes, welcome in. And I hope that you are having a good night tonight. We're just being cozy. I've got my blanket, I've got my big old water bottle, and we're just being cozy. If you hear a male voice, that is my husband, and he is graciously helping me with the stream tonight. He's kind of the live stream guru. And definitely go check out his content with the Nerd Cave Network. He's here on TikTok and on YouTube as well. And they stream every Tuesday night and Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central. And you can get all of your nerdy news with video games and watch him stream. He's playing Ghost of Yote right now and really enjoying that. So if you like video games, definitely go check out Nerd Cave Network. But yeah, do we want to get into some mood reader prompts? Wintry mood reader prompts. So I have written out some different prompts, and I'm going to give my recommendations for them. But again, I want to hear your recommendations. What books do you think of when you hear this description? So let's get into it. I've got 11, so 10 plus a bonus. So first up, and I might repeat some of the books that I've already said, but this may give you a little bit better of an understanding of what the vibe is for the books. So don't be upset with me if I repeat books that I've already said. So my first one is, you want a book that feels cold, like walking through the ice and snow. I would definitely recommend Beartown by Frederick Bachman. That is dealing literally with like hockey, and there is definitely like snowy, wintry scenes and everything. And then definitely the Emily Wilde series, because that is like, I believe it's somewhere in like Northern Europe on like kind of this remote island. It's definitely cold, definitely wintry. I'm seeing some recommendations. Star Wars Red Harvest. Okay. So yeah, let me know a book that feels cold, like walking through ice and snow. So my recommendations are Beartown and the Emily Wilde series. And like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like snowy necessarily or like icy, but just something that maybe comes to mind when you think of that vibe, just something that feels like cold and the that kind of frigid terrain covered in ice and snow, but it just feels cold to you. Like the story maybe is a little bit chilling. I don't know. Let's move on to the next one. As you're giving your recommendations, let me know, like, this one feels like this, and I recommend it. Like, attach the prompt to the name of the book. So you want to feel cuddled up by the fireplace with a mug of hot chocolate. I would definitely recommend 3 Holidays and a Wedding. This is definitely like a Hallmark feeling book, but it has more diverse representation where we are covering Christmas, Hanukkah, Ramadan, and Eid. And it is just really sweet how everybody comes together to kind of have a celebration, but it's people kind of getting stranded in bad weather, and they're on a flight but having to land kind of in this remote place in Canada. But it's just really heartwarming and sweet. It definitely feels like a Hallmark movie, but we have these different religions and cultures being represented. So you want to feel cuddled up by the fireplace with a mug of hot chocolate. Definitely 3 Holidays and a Wedding. I see a recommendation, The Murderbot Diaries and The Inheritance Cycle. The Inheritance Cycle, I think for like nostalgia's sake, definitely would feel cozy like that. I definitely think that like high fantasy like that is perfect for this time of year. That is like cozy to me. Murderbot Diaries, definitely like kind of like cozy sci-fi stories. I know Zach is recommending that one. That's cozy for him. It's like a comfort read for him. So, what may be like a comfort, cozy read to you may not be for somebody else. But if you like those vibes of like high fantasy or like a cozy sort of sci-fi sort of story, you never know, somebody might relate to your recommendation. All right. Speaking of high fantasy, you want high fantasy in winter with chilly scenery and epic battles. I mentioned this book a little bit earlier, but Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. This definitely has epic battles and it has like ice magic. So I don't think it gets much more wintry than that. Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones series, that is definitely like winter high fantasy for sure. Definitely, definitely. So you want high fantasy in winter with chilly scenery and epic battles. My recommendation was Sword of Kaigen. Let me know what yours is. I like the idea of like just putting like the number of the prompt. I have them numbered. So number 1 was a book that feels cold, like walking through ice and snow. Number 2, you want to feel cuddled up by the fireplace with a mug of hot chocolate. And number 3, you want high fantasy in winter with chilly scenery and epic battles. So you can number them or whatever you'd like to do. But I want to know your recommendations for these prompts as well. Number 4, you want fantasy with romance in which it's snowing, but the vibes are heartwarming. And I would recommend Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Owens. I was talking about this a little bit earlier. It definitely has like heartwarming vibes. It's taking place in like the winter weather and everything, but it's like magic libraries and a little bit of romance. We have really like lovable characters. It's just a really fun time. So that was if you want fantasy with romance in which it's snowing, but the vibes are heartwarming. Number 5, you want a classic feeling holiday story with magic the whole family will enjoy. And I would definitely recommend A Boy Called Christmas for that. It definitely has like a classic sort of fairy tale feel, but it's like a Santa origin story. I would definitely recommend that one for that prompt. So, number 5, you want a classic feeling holiday story with magic the whole family will enjoy. So, guys, as you are coming in, we are talking mood reader prompts where this is the vibe that I want in this, like, the winter category of books, and I'm giving recommendations, and I want to hear your recommendations as well. So I'm seeing recommendation number 5, Frosty the Snowman. For sure, that is definitely one that the whole family can enjoy. That is totally a classic holiday story. I'm sorry if you can hear burping. My stomach has a mind of its own. Yeah, I apologize.
Hot girls have stomach problems.
Yeah. Chronic illness is all like digestive system and all of that. So, yay. Number 6. You want to get cozy with a holiday rom-com that helps you escape holiday stress. I would recommend In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. That is like Christmas, but like Groundhog Day, if you're familiar with that movie where like the day keeps repeating. So a little bit of magic in there. And then Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh, which is like friends that are traveling together every year to go home for the holidays. And so it's kind of a friends to lovers sort of situation. So you want to get cozy with the holiday rom-com that helps you escape the holiday stress. That's number 6. Number 7, you want a cozy mystery set in wintry weather. I would recommend what I was talking about earlier, Green Glass House, which is like a middle grade sort of mystery in like this kind of old hotel. And it's just really like cute and kind of heartwarming, but still has a little bit of spooky with the mystery. And then Christmas Caramel Murder by Joanne Fluke. That is definitely like one of those like classic kind of like cozy mysteries. I know that this author has other like holiday and Christmas related cozy mysteries that you can go and check out. So, a cozy mystery in a winter setting. That's number 7. My throat, y'all. Whew.
I don't know if this one is necessarily a cozy mystery. I'm thinking Darker Shade of Magic.
No. That has definitely like higher stakes in
Yeah.
it. Number 8. You want a cold and dark YA fantasy but you want it YA because you don't want it too grim dark. So cold and dark YA fantasy because you don't want it too grim dark. Little Thieves by Margaret Owens. I couldn't think of the author's name for a second. That is like definitely like a darker tone for a YA fantasy, but it's not so intense that like it feels like a full-on adult fantasy or grim dark adult fantasy. So definitely would recommend Little Thieves for number 8. So as I'm going through this list, definitely let me know your recommendations and uh what the vibe is, if it matches one of the vibes that I've been talking about. I saw a comment, Darker Shade of Magic, but not YA. A Darker Shade of Magic, I feel like doesn't get super like adult themes. I feel like I know there's kind of the category of like new adult where it's like in between YA and adult. I feel like maybe it could fit into that. But that definitely has like some darker tones to it, but it's not like grim, dark, traumatic fantasy. I don't know how much longer I can go with my voice. All right. Number 9, you want a cozy fantasy about books. So a book about books. Definitely The Cat Who Saved Books, which is set during Christmas, but that's definitely not the focus. I talked a little bit about this earlier. It is like a boy going on adventures with a talking cat and kind of learning the value of books. So definitely would recommend for a cozy book about books. That's number 9. Number 10, you want whimsical fantasy romance, but with twists and turns. Now, I haven't mentioned this one. Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This is a YA fantasy trilogy, and it is just so like whimsical, kind of fairy tale feeling, but I definitely think it's with like modern touches. But you're kind of in this like other world where it's literally a winter wonderland kind of world, and it feels kind of dark and cold, but it definitely is like this whimsical fantasy romance. So that was number 10. And my last prompt on this list, number 11, you want a diverse holiday romance. I've actually got 2 for this. A Second Chance Romance by Jaquel J. This has really great representation with Black characters, but also with blended families. So, like families of divorce, but kind of trying to come together and have like a healthy sort of family setting. I think it's really well represented. And then a YA diverse holiday romance, Only for the Holidays by Abiola Bello. That one's really cute. It is kind of first love, but I feel like it is a little more serious for a YA romance, but it still has great like holiday vibes. It's still a really fun book. So those are my mood reader prompts for winter book recommendations. I know that was a lot. I feel like I'm talking a lot. But as you're coming in, welcome in. We are talking all things books, especially like seasonal reads, wintry reads. I've really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. So let me know how you're doing in the comments as you're coming in. Let me know what you're reading right now. Currently, I am reading Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber, who wrote the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, but this is their first adult fantasy. It's kind of like urban fantasy taking place in LA around like Hollywood urban legends. It's for a book club that I have been invited to join. So I didn't pick the read, but it's been pretty entertaining so far. So that's what I'm currently reading. But welcome in. I hope that you're doing well.
Make sure while you're here, hit the like button and the subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything that Amy does here. She has great recommendations.
I'm hoping that they can hear you on TikTok.
I'm sure they can.
Okay.
To a degree.
To a degree. So if you hear a male voice over on TikTok, that is my husband who is helping me with the live stream tonight. And you can see him over on YouTube. We're on TikTok and YouTube tonight.
I just realized I was
on
Audible.
Audible?
Yeah, I'm looking at my audio books. The last Sun Eater book is 44 hours long.
44 hours?
44 hours and 27 minutes.
That was going to take a little bit.
I'm excited, though. I'm glad.
Yeah, so I read a lot with my husband, so he kind of is popping in and out of the chat and discussing books with us. But yes, he is helping me with the live stream tonight. But I hope that everybody is doing well tonight and that you've been enjoying this kind of cozy time. I think we'll go for a little bit longer, but I've just been kind of talking like winter reads, holiday reads that I'm wanting to get to. And I talked about my 10 before the end, but this is kind of like my honed in focus of what I want to read. And on my 10 before the end, I have just kind of in general a spot for like holiday reads, holiday Christmas reads. So I have my holiday romance TBR, which is quite long. If you can see that on my phone, there we go. I just went on my Goodreads and was like, okay, what's on here? And yeah, there's a good bit, but I'll pick out a couple of them that I would really like to get to. The Wedding Witch by Aaron Sterling. That is part of their X Hex series, which those books take place around like Halloween, but this one is like the characters, I guess, getting married around Christmas. And then there's one that I didn't get to last year, The Christmas You Found in Me by Sarah Morgenthaler. I believe that's the story. It's supposed to be like it's like a single dad. He's got a little girl, and he meets this woman, and it just sounded like a really sweet story, but I didn't get to it last year. So definitely want to read that one. And then I borrowed The Holiday Trap by Rowan Parrish from the library the other day. I don't even remember what that's about. Thank goodness for Goodreads. So this is about two separate couples. It does have LGBTQ plus representation in here. And it sounds like it's a small town kind of romance. And it's about swapping houses, apparently. So maybe a little bit like the movie The Holiday. I don't know. It sounds really cute. But I borrowed that from the library, so hopefully would get to that. But from my 10 before the end, I do have some like winter and holiday books other than the holiday romances. So I want to read The Winter King by C.L. Wilson. It's kind of like a historical fantasy romance. You look at the cover, it looks like very like 80s romance book cover, but it's supposed to be like pretty good. It's supposed to be really good. It's not like the cheesy like bodice ripper type romances, which I don't have anything against those. I'm not saying anything against those. I enjoy historical romance, but I think if you saw the cover, you're like, this is fantasy romance, but it's a little bit of an older one. That's all I'm saying. And then I have Hogfather by Terry Pratchett, which this is like his version of a Santa Claus story in his Discworld, if you're familiar with that. And I don't know what it is. I just really like older book covers. Like I've got all my like mass paperbacks up here. I like the old fantasy covers. This one is like it might make you nauseous to look at, but I don't know. I just really like the art from this time period. Like I've got these mass paperbacks.
And that Hogfather is a first edition.
Is the Hogfather a first edition? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I like this one's a little bit newer as far as the art and everything, but yeah, I just really like that. This one is on my 10 before the end as well. The Daughter of the Forest, but it's just like they just don't do art like that anymore. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm a nerd about those kind of things. So but guys, I hope that you have really enjoyed hanging out with me. We've been here for a couple of hours, so I feel like I've talked all things kind of seasonal reads and everything, but Yeah, I've enjoyed just kind of giving you guys some book recommendations and hanging out and having fun. I hope that you have enjoyed this as much as I have. And I hope that you got some kind of book recommendation. I have recommended quite a few. So, um, definitely before we leave, let me know any of your favorite winter reads or holiday reads as we are kind of closing this out. But if you weren't here earlier, my kind of 10 before the end, which isn't just like winter and holiday books. Um, I made a video about this a little while ago on TikTok, and I did it on YouTube as well. Um, it's kind of like just I want to read these books, but I have that slot for just general like I want to fit in a holiday romance. I'll probably fit in more than one. But I've read 3 of my 10. Excuse me, my stomach. So I've read Fury of the Gods, I've read The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow, and I've read Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb. So all of those were great reads. The Everlasting really surprised me. I really enjoyed that. But the rest on my list is Strength of the Few by James Islington, which is a new release, and I am so excited to read that one. And then Brigands and Bread Knives by Travis Baldree, which is part of the Legends and Lattes series. Unbound by Michael R. Miller, which is the sequel in the Songs of Chaos series, which is the sequel to this book. My stomach is rumbling right now. Um, really enjoyed that first book, so I'm looking forward to Unbound, the second book. And then, of course, Daughter of the Forest, I just showed you that. That is on my list as well. I said, sorry. I'm sorry. Um, like Christmas theme books, holiday books. I just have the slot for that. And then, of course, The Winter King and Hogfather. So those are kind of my like 10 before the end that I am wanting to read. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of get into the winter months and reading those kind of books. I really love like autumn reads and that kind of seasonal vibe. I definitely went hardcore with it this year as far as like my videos and everything. I don't know if I'll have as many videos necessarily about wintry reads. I might have some in like my shorts on YouTube and on TikTok, but I don't know if I'll do like a main YouTube video about that. But, you know, as we get to the end of the year, it's kind of like, oh, what was the best books of the year? You know, top fantasy series, top whatever. You know, we kind of are getting into those sort of lists as we're closing out the year. So that's probably going to be more of what will be coming in the next few weeks. I can't believe we're already like close to Thanksgiving being next week, and then getting into December. So, um, not a ton of time to fit in more books, but we'll make it happen. My goal for the year was 75 books, and I've gotten pretty close to that. I was looking at it, and my Fable and my Goodreads are different number counts. So I'm trying to figure out where the error is. But yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at as far as what I'm reading and how the rest of the year is probably going to go for me as far as content and what I'm reading. But I hope that you guys really enjoyed this tonight. I definitely enjoyed it. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. So I will definitely see you guys on my socials. I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, and I'm on Instagram, all under Amy Irby Books. So you can check me out there. And yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me. And I will see you guys on my socials. Bye.